Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is, well, it's foundational. We so often want to jump straight to the exciting stuff. Investing, saving, making money grow.
Right, the fun part.
The fun part. But before any of that can really happen, we have to look squarely at your present financial reality. We have to understand where the cash is going now.
And that means we have to talk about the dreaded B word.
Budgeting.
It really is the essential first step. And what's interesting about the sources we looked at is how much they all emphasize simplicity. This initial exercise, it's not designed to turn you into a forensic accountant for the rest of your life.
Thank goodness.
The whole objective is just clarity. It's gaining enough insight to accurately predict your day-to-day expenses.
That distinction is so powerful, isn't it? Prediction versus just, historical analysis. It reminds me of that quote we pulled from John C. Maxwell.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
A budget is telling your money where to go instead of asking where it went.
Exactly.
And if you've ever hit the middle of the month and had that feeling of, wait, where did all that money go? This is the fix.
It's a total shift from being reactive to being proactive.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't give your money a job, it's just going to default to, well, to consumption.
And we had to be brutally honest during this process. The sources make this this humorous but very necessary point right at the start.
Oh, yes.
When you're listing your costs, that streaming service subscription, as essential as it feels.
Hey, it's consumption. It absolutely does not go into the investment category.
Not an investment.
Not an investment. You are analyzing your consumption before you can even think about saving or investing. Without that clarity, any goal you set is just built on sand.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's establish our current reality. The mission here is pretty straightforward, right? We need to figure out the average amount you spend each month across a few essential categories.
And the key words there are simple and average.
Not absolute precision.
Definitely not. That's a trap if you spend too much time chasing every single penny, every coffee.
They'll just burn out.
You'll burn out. People get overwhelmed by the detail and then just abandon the whole thing after 2 weeks. The point of this is to understand the big, predictable flows of money.
It's the 80-20 rule. Get 80% of the clarity with 20% of the effort. So what are these core categories? We need to capture 8 essential families of expenses.
Okay, let's start with the biggest one, the one that's usually the most fixed cost.
Housing.
Housing. That's your rent or your mortgage repayment.
Okay, so that's the elephant in the room. What's next?
Next up is food. And the sources use a term that really emphasizes, sustenance, but for our purposes, it's groceries, dining out, all of that.
Got it. Number 3.
Transport. So everything you need to get from A to B. That's gas, insurance, car maintenance, maybe a public transit pass.
Okay, and the 4th one seems like a big catch-all that can really sneak up on you.
It's huge. Subscriptions and recurring fixed costs. This is your phone bill, your internet, electricity, bank fees, any of those annual software things.
Okay, now here's something that was a bit confusing in the source material. They list rent or mortgage as number 1, but then they include rent again in the subscription category. Why?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's really a point of emphasis.
Oh,
They want you to isolate that main housing cost first, but then they list it again to hammer home the point that rent is a recurring contractual obligation. It's fundamentally different from, say, your food budget, which is variable.
So this category is for everything that just happens automatically every single month.
Exactly. No matter what you do that month, those bills are coming.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, rounding out the list, number 5 is leisure, your fun money.
6 is purchases and shopping, so clothes, household goods, that kind of thing.
Number 7 is health,
And finally, number 8 is just other.
the all-important catch-all bucket.
Crucial. And here's the absolute key. This list is a map. It's not set in stone. If your real-world expenses don't match your initial budget, the sources are very clear. You have permission to readjust those averages month to month.
It has to be flexible.
It must be. If the budget doesn't serve you, you're not going to stick with it. So, how do we get these numbers in the first place? This brings us to the data collection part. To avoid getting a weird result from, an unusual month, the standard method is to look at the average of your spending over the last 3 months.
3 months is the magic number. It makes sense, right? If you only look at last month, maybe you had a surprise car repair bill.
Or you bought plane tickets for a vacation.
Yeah, and suddenly your transport average is totally skewed for the whole year.
Exactly. And on the flip side, maybe you had a really frugal month. That's not realistic either. 3 months just smooths out all those peaks and valleys. It gives you a much more predictive number.
Thankfully, there are two ways to do this, and the first is the easy way.
Method A banking apps.
Modern technology to the rescue.
Yes. If you already use an app from your bank or one of those third-party aggregator apps, chances are a lot of your expenses are already categorized for you automatically.
That is a huge head start.
It's massive. If the app's done the heavy lifting, you just look at the totals for the last 3 months for each category, add them up, divide by 3, done. Minimal effort.
But what if you don't use an app?
Then you go to method B, the manual way.
Okay.
This means you need to pull up your last 3 bank statements, your credit card statements.
So you sit down, you list out every expense, and you assign it to one of those 8 categories. This might take a spreadsheet or, just a piece of paper and a pen.
It will, but the clarity you get from that manual review it's immense. It forces you to look at every single transaction.
Oh, hiding.
There's no hiding. And that manual process creates a psychological engagement that sometimes gets skipped with the automatic apps. It's a really powerful way to start.
Okay, let's talk about the practical hacks, because the sources have 2 really simple tricks you can use right away to make this whole thing feel a bit less scary.
The first one is a concept they call the safety margin, or level 0.
Right, maintaining a buffer in your checking account. But isn't that counterintuitive? Just having money sit there, not earning interest?
At this stage, no. It's a buffer against stress, and the psychological win is huge.
So what do they suggest?
Keep a minimum sum, say 100 or 500 currency units, whatever works for you, in your account at all times.
And you just treat that as untouchable?
Absolutely. That is your new 0. When you're tracking your spending, you're only looking at the balance above that safety cushion.
So if you dip into it...
If you dip into it, you are technically overdrawn in your personal budget, but you haven't actually incurred any real-world bank fees. That buffer just absorbs those annoying little things. A subscription you forgot about, a small bank fee without causing real financial stress.
That's a great tip. It's an emotional buffer as much as an operational one. It gives you breathing room.
And the second tip really goes back to the tools. The sources strongly advise using a banking app that does that automatic categorization.
Why is that so important after you've already done the initial setup?
Because the goal isn't just to set a budget once and forget it. It's about continuous oversight.
A living document.
Exactly. If an app is constantly tracking for you, you get immediate feedback. You can check in and see, okay, I've got 30 units left in my leisure budget for the last week of the month.
Or I've got plenty left for groceries.
Right. That feedback loop lets you make corrections mid-course. It keeps the budget relevant.
To really bring this home, to show the emotional side of this process, the source shares the story of a learner named Sandra.
Yes, and her initial reaction is just, it's perfect, so relatable.
She had that classic resistance, didn't she?
Oh, completely. She looks at the instructions and basically says, I hate spreadsheets. I bought this guide to be financially free, not to do my accounts. I feel tricked.
I mean, who hasn't felt that?
Right. I don't want to be an accountant for my whole life. But then what's fascinating is the shift that happens once she actually does the work.
The turning point.
The turning point. After she stops fighting it and actually lists her expenses using that 3-month average, she says she felt a mix of anger and motivation.
Anger and motivation. Tell me more.
Anger at seeing the numbers in black and white, but then this fierce motivation because she realized for the first time she had the power to stop her money from just disappearing without a trace.
That moment of realization, of control, that's huge. And we have her actual numbers, which really grounds the story.
We do. Her total monthly spend was 1,400 currency units.
Okay.
Her rent was the big one, 600 units. Then she set 200 for food, 50 for transport, and another 50 for all her various subscriptions.
And that left a pretty significant chunk, 500 units, in that other bucket, for purchases, leisure, all the discretionary stuff.
It did. And the sources note she was already using one of those apps, which made the review easy. But the power wasn't the tool itself. The power was in the clarity the tool provided. Seeing that 500-unit bucket in black and white immediately motivated her to start making changes there.
That mix of anger and motivation, that's often the catalyst, isn't it? It moves you from this vague idea of I should save more to a concrete, wow, I'm spending 500 units on things I don't even really prioritize.
That's the friction point that creates change.
Okay, so this whole deep dive, it's designed to set you up for success, and it really boils down to 5 key principles. If you remember nothing else, these are the 5 things to hold on to.
First one, simplicity over precision. Make a simple budget, Don't chase perfection. 90% tracked is a win.
Second, you have to categorize. Use those major families: housing, food, transport, and so on.
Third, use the 3-month average. Don't let one weird month throw off your whole plan. Get a realistic baseline.
Fourth, keep that safety margin, that level 0, whether it's 100 or 500 units, to absorb shocks without the stress.
And fifth, the tool. Strongly, strongly prefer a banking app that does automatic categorization. It's your engine for continuous, low-effort monitoring.
So what does this all mean? Once you've done this, once this foundational step is complete, the hard work is done. You know exactly how much you plan to spend and where it's going.
And that clarity is the launch pad for everything else. You're not guessing anymore.
You're no longer navigating blind.
You have a detailed financial map. And because you know your baseline cost of living, you can move past that general anxiety and start taking targeted action.
Which leads us to our final thought for you to take away. If you look at your new map, with those 8 categories laid out, housing, food, leisure, all of them, which one of those specific areas gives you the most direct, immediate power to reduce spending next month? Knowing where your funds go is step 1. Choosing where you want to reclaim that power, well, that's step 2.